The phone rang. Sophia, home from her office job, put down her bag and crossed the living room to pick up.
Hello?
This is Gregory Hopkins from Midland Community Bank. Am I speaking with Sophia Simmons?
Yes, this is Sophia. What is this regarding?
Your grandfather, Walter Simmons, created a trust for you. You were supposed to receive the funds when you turned 21. That was 12 years ago. The trust is now worth $230,000. Your mother has been blocking it.
That's impossible. My mother told me Grandpa left nothing. She said the trust was dissolved.
She signed yearly forms saying you couldn't be located or weren't ready, but the home address on every file is yours.
I've lived at that address since I was 9. How could she claim she couldn't find me?
A compliance review flagged the inconsistencies. You should come to the bank and review everything. Can we schedule for this Friday?
On a cold Friday afternoon, Sophia walked into the Midland Community Bank, a place she'd never noticed before. The appointment was set for 2.
Thank you for coming, Sophia. I have the trust file ready. Please, have a seat.
He placed a thick folder on the desk and opened it. The first page was the trust agreement, signed by Walter Simmons in 1998.
That's my grandfather's signature. He died when I was 9. I never thought I'd see anything of his again.
Gregory then spread out the annual attestation forms. Brenda's signature appeared on each one, year after year.
She marked beneficiary cannot be located every single year. The address she listed is the same address you've lived at since 1991.
She looked at those forms and wrote that I couldn't be found. I ate dinner with her every night.
The trust document was unambiguous. Her grandfather's intent was clear. The money was for her education, her future, her life.
This is real, all of it. She's been lying for 12 years. 12 years. She took 12 years of my inheritance and never flinched.
A new compliance system cross-referenced the address on those forms with DMV records. Your file lit up immediately.
So a computer program caught what I should have known for 12 years. 12 years of my life.
I reviewed the file personally. The trust language is clear. Your grandfather wanted you to have this money. No ambiguity.
What can I actually do? My mother won't just write a check because I ask. She's been hiding this intentionally.
You can file a beneficiary petition for an accounting. It compels the trustee to disclose every dollar. The courts will intervene.
This will drag my mother into court. But she already stole 12 years from me. I owe her nothing. Give me the forms. I'll file the petition.
Her voice was quiet, but the words landed like a gavel strike. The choice had been made.
I'll have the paperwork ready by Monday morning. Sign it here, and we'll submit it to probate court by noon.
Sophia stood, the trust file clutched against her chest, and walked out of the bank, no longer the woman who had walked in. By Monday afternoon, the beneficiary petition was stamped and filed at probate court. Sophia held the sealed copy in her hands, the weight of it real. She drove home to the smell of onions and garlic. Through the front window, Brenda was already at the stove.
There you are. Grab the plates. Dinner's almost ready.
Sure, Mom. Just let me wash up.
Long day at work. You are awfully quiet.
By 8 o'clock, Sophia escaped to her bedroom. She locked the door and pulled the trust file from her bag. She sat on the bed, the document open beside the framed photo of her grandfather. The resemblance made her chest tighten.
Aunt Diane, it's me. I need to tell you something. Grandpa didn't leave us nothing. He left me a trust. $230,000. Mom hid it.
Her aunt's outrage crackled through the receiver. But the promise to stand by her was a lifeline Sophia hadn't known she needed. She hung up and stared at the petition. Somewhere in the house, Brenda was watching television. unaware that a legal countdown had just started. Thursday morning, the house was still until a sharp knock at the front door pulled Brenda from her crossword. The woman handed over a thick envelope. Brenda's hands started shaking as she read the caption, "Petition for accounting."
A beneficiary petition. Sophia, she's suing me over Walter's trust.
Her shoes pounded the hallway floor. She shoved Sophia's bedroom door open without knocking.
Sophia, after everything I gave up for you, you ambush me with a lawsuit.
Mom, you hid $230,000 from me. For 12 years.
I was protecting you. You weren't ready for that kind of money.
A cold cup of coffee sat untouched on the nightstand, the argument swirling around it, forgotten.
Protecting me. You signed forms claiming I was missing. I've been right here, eating dinner with you every night.
I did what I had to do. Don't you dare talk to me about betrayal.
For 3 days, Brenda acted as if her daughter had vanished. Meals passed in silence. The only sound was the clink of cutlery. On Thursday evening, Sophia crept down the hallway and stopped. Her mother's voice filtered through the kitchen doorway.
You would not believe what Sophia has done, cousin. She filed a lawsuit over an old trust, claiming I stole from her.
Sophia stood inches away, catching every word. The trust that never existed. Her mother had rewritten history on a phone call.
I gave her everything, and she sues me. She's been poisoned by that grandmother's nonsense, always filling her head.
Back in her room, Sophia shut the door and reached for the framed photograph on her nightstand. Walter Simmons smiled back at her.
You knew, didn't you, Grandpa? You knew she might keep this from me.
The wall clock in the living room ticked steadily, each second pulling the court date closer.
I will not back down. Not for her. Not for anyone.
She placed the photo back carefully, the glass reflecting the lamp's glow. The countdown had begun. The morning of the hearing, Sophia and her mother crossed the courthouse steps in separate strides, a cold wind between them.
Your Honor, my daughter has always been fragile. I was protecting her from a sum she couldn't handle. She's never had stability.
I am stable. I am 35, and my grandfather's trust was for my education and future. These are her signed forms.
The judge reviewed the trust file in silence. His expression hardened. The order was clear. Brenda Simmons must produce a full accounting of the Walter Simmons Trust within 60 days. Brenda's hands twisted together in her lap, the first crack in her performance.
She'll have to show the truth now. There's nowhere left to hide.
The gavel fell with a sharp crack. The court recessed, the countdown set. Brenda left without a word, her heels echoing on the marble floor. Sophia stood on the steps a moment longer, the winter sun breaking through for the first time in weeks. The weeks crawled forward, marked only by the ticking of the living room clock and the silent meals shared by two women who had nothing left to say. Sophia called Gregory from her office on a Tuesday, her voice low, unable to shake the feeling of a clock running down.
Nothing yet, Sophia. The court docket shows no filing from your mother, not a single page.
At home, Brenda resumed her crossword puzzles as if the court order had been a bad dream.
Mom, the accounting is due in 40 days. Have you started it?
Don't worry yourself about it. I have it handled.
She's never going to hand it over. Something is buried in those numbers.
As the weeks shrank, Brenda's behavior grew twitchy. She'd leave a room whenever finances were mentioned, her eyes avoiding the calendar on the wall. The red circle on the date loomed larger. 40 days became 30, then 20. Nothing was filed. Sophia stared at her phone, her thumb hovering over Gregory's contact. The silence from her mother had become a second accusation. On the 60th day, the phone on Sophia's nightstand buzzed before the alarm did.
She filed it, Sophia. The accounting just hit the docket. You need to see this.
She drove across town, fingers tapping the wheel, a cold dread in her stomach. Inside the bank, Gregory spread the single page across his desk. The numbers were sparse but damning.
This line right here. $48,000. Why is there a deduction I never authorized? She stole from me. My mother stole $48,000 from my trust.
The disbursements started 10 years ago. Small amounts at first, then larger. She never replenished a cent.
This is the same woman who clipped grocery coupons and said we couldn't afford the good cereal.
We need to file a supplement to the petition. The court needs to see this immediately.
Sophia nodded slowly, the file closing with a soft thud. The fight was far from over. Sophia found her mother in the kitchen, a cup of cold tea at her elbow. She laid the accounting sheet on the table between them.
$48,000, Mom. Explain this.
That money was for this house, for you. You think I lived in luxury?
You signed forms saying I was missing. You used the money for new furniture, vacations. I remember the Aruba trip.
I needed it. Raising you alone. I was drowning. Please, you can't do this.
The Aruba brochure, the new dining set. She didn't struggle. She chose this.
I'll pay it back. Please, don't take this to court again. Forgive your mother.
You had 12 years to be honest. You chose to lie. I can't do this right now.
She turned her back, the sound of her mother's sobs cutting through the silent hallway. In her room, the framed photograph of Walter caught the lamplight. She hadn't backed down. Sophia scheduled an appointment with Gregory the next morning. She needed to know her options beyond the accounting.
The accounting confirms a fiduciary breach. You can petition the court to surcharge her personally and remove her as trustee.
A surcharge. You mean my mother would have to pay back every dollar she took from me?
Yes, the law is clear. As trustee, she had a duty to protect the assets. She used them for herself.
She's still my mother, but she didn't think of that when she booked Aruba.
I understand it's difficult, but the court will likely order full restitution. You deserve the full amount your grandfather intended.
If I let this go, I'm telling her it's acceptable. I am telling myself my future isn't worth fighting for.
That's your answer, then. I'll prepare the surcharge petition. Sign here, and we'll submit it today.
The pen scratched against the paper, a quiet sound that carried the weight of a severed tie. She pushed the form back across the desk. The surcharge petition was filed. Now the court would decide. 3 days later, another knock. This time, Brenda didn't need to open the envelope to know what it was.
She wants me to pay her back. A surcharge. After every sacrifice I made for her.
Her voice carried down the hallway, sharp enough to cut glass. Sophia stood frozen outside the kitchen door.
She claims I stole from her. I only took what I deserved for raising her alone.
There it is. The truth I needed to hear. She never saw it as theft. She saw it as her due.
No, she's ruining my name with the whole family. My own daughter.
She's not even sorry. All those years, and she'd do it again.
The weight of a lifetime of guilt, that she was never enough, lifted silently in that hallway. That night, she looked at her grandfather's photograph and didn't apologize. For the first time, she felt his approval.
I see it now, Grandpa. This fight was yours, too. I'll finish it.
The surcharge hearing was brief. Sophia and her mother sat on opposite sides of the aisle, not once meeting each other's eyes.
Your Honor, the accounting shows $48,000 in unauthorized disbursements. As beneficiary, I request a surcharge and removal of the trustee.
I used some funds for household needs. Raising her alone, the roof, the car. I never meant harm.
The judge opened the trust document. His voice was flat. The ruling was final. The full trust balance, $230,000, disbursed to Sophia. A $48,000 personal surcharge against Brenda, and immediate removal as trustee. The gavel fell. The sound echoed longer than it should have.
I won. So why does it feel like I am still losing something?
Brenda's knuckles were white on the wooden bench. She didn't speak. Outside the courthouse, the same winter sun broke through. Sophia blinked at the light, feeling the weight of a 12-year lie finally lifting. The battle was over. But a question lingered like the shadow of a letter she didn't know existed. The drive home was a vacuum. Brenda stared out the passenger window as if Sophia were a stranger driving her to a bus station. At home, Brenda walked straight to her bedroom. The click of the lock was the only sound that passed between them. Sophia made a cup of coffee in the kitchen she'd known since childhood. The routine felt like muscle memory belonging to someone else. She sat on the worn sofa, the living room suddenly feeling like a waiting room she'd never checked out of.
This isn't a home anymore. It's the set of a show that ended years ago.
Her phone screen glowed with apartment listings, one-bedrooms, studios, tiny cottages with windows that faced east. The kitchen doorway stood empty where Brenda had stood 100 times. The house felt like a museum of old arguments.
She chose her entitlement over me. I get to choose myself now.
By midnight, she'd sent 3 inquiries and saved a listing for a cottage with a porch and a key she could turn without permission. In the silence, the wall clock ticked on. Somewhere, Brenda's bitterness hummed like an old refrigerator. But Sophia wasn't listening anymore. A week later, Sophia walked into the Midland Community Bank, but this time she wasn't there to request. She was there to receive.
Here it is, the full disbursement. $230,000 made out to you.
The paper weight in her hand felt heavier than it should. A key she never knew was missing.
12 years lost. But the money is finally where it belongs, with me.
At the teller window, she opened a new account in her name only. No cosigner, no history, just her future. The deposit slip displayed the balance she should have had at 21. Every digit felt like a small vindication. The account card looked like any other. But to her, it was the key to a door she hadn't been allowed to open.
This came from Grandpa, not from her. That makes it sacred.
She folded the receipt and tucked it into her wallet, feeling the outline of the photo booth picture she still kept there. She walked out into the late morning sun. The money was a tool now, not a wound. Sophia stepped into the kitchen. Brenda's eyes locked onto the bank envelope visible in her bag. The silence was pure accusation.
You think you can just take that money and walk away? That was my retirement.
That money was never yours. Grandpa left it for my education, my future. You signed the forms.
I raised you. I deserved something. A dead man's paperclip won't define my worth.
You deserve to be honest. You weren't. The court saw that. I am not asking for anything that wasn't already mine.
Brenda's heel scraped the floor as she turned. The sound was a door slamming without touching wood. Sophia walked to her bedroom, closed the door, and turned the lock, a small click that echoed like a verdict.
She'll never see it as anything but theft. So be it.
In the silence, the weight of every unsaid word pressed against the door like a handprint. On the kitchen counter, the bank envelope still showed through Sophia's bag, proof of a future she'd take without permission. The surcharge notice arrived on a Tuesday. Brenda read it at the kitchen table, her lips moving silently over the numbers.
I am not paying a cent. Let them garnish my non-existent wages. I'll starve before I write that check.
The next day, a certified letter from Sophia's attorney warned of wage garnishment and a lien on the house.
You'd take the roof over my head? After everything I gave you?
I don't want the house. I want what was taken. The court ordered it, not me.
Fine. You'll get your blood money. Don't you ever call me mother again.
Brenda pulled a checkbook from her purse. Scribbled with the force of a signature that was a final goodbye, she slid it across the counter. The paper stayed between them like a truce no one believed in.
48,000 back. It doesn't fix the years, but it closes the ledger.
The floor creaked under Brenda's retreat. Sophia picked up the check, the ink still damp. She needed to move out. The surcharge was paid, but the court order wasn't exhausted. Brenda was required to surrender all trust-related documents.
You think there's some treasure map in here? Fine. Follow me.
She knelt before the safe, her fingers working the combination with a stiffness born of resentment. The door swung open. revealing a stack of files and a single envelope. Yellowed and fragile, the handwriting on the envelope was unmistakable. For Sophia, in Walter's careful, shaky cursive.
That's from Grandpa. You kept it all this time?
It's nothing. Some sentimental nonsense right there. Take it.
Her hand trembled as she reached past the stacks of lies to the one truth her grandfather left behind. She didn't trust her voice. The envelope felt like a heartbeat in her palm. Years of silence, months of legal war, and now a letter she never knew existed, waiting to be read. Sophia took the letter to her room, sat on the edge of the bed, and slid her finger under the flap. My dear Sophia, if your mother does not give this to you on your 21st birthday, please know it was always meant for you. I set this up because I knew your mother might not honor my wishes. You were always the light of my life. Please do not let it keep you from a life that is yours. Your grandfather, Walter. The paper trembled in her grip. A sob broke loose before she could stop it.
He knew. He tried to protect me even after he was gone.
She pressed the letter to her chest, the handwriting still visible through the thin paper.
I am not alone. I never was. He was always there waiting.
12 years of anger loosened, replaced by a grief that felt clean and final. She stayed there until the light changed. Walter's words, a compass pointing her forward. Sophia opened her laptop. The letter lay beside it, the words still humming beneath her ribs.
He used to tell me to build something that lasts. I thought it was just a proverb.
She typed a search. Small cottage for sale near Lakeview. The listings filled the screen.
Something small. A front porch, a garden, a key that's mine.
Then she switched tabs. A university website. The graduate program she'd bookmarked years ago but never applied to.
His money for an education I deserved. Not a day too late.
She looked out into the evening sky. The streetlights were switching on, each one a quiet permission to begin.
40,000 for the house. The rest for school. That's what he wanted. That's what I am doing.
The last trace of a wound became a blueprint. She started typing. The screen glowed with 2 tabs, a cottage and a future. Both were finally hers. Sophia's offer was accepted the next morning. She signed the closing documents in the realtor's office without hesitation. By Friday, a sold sign was staked in the front yard of the little cottage on Cedar Lane. She brought boxes home that evening. In her bedroom, she began emptying the closet she'd filled since childhood. Her enrollment confirmation arrived. Dear Sophia Simmons, welcome to the Master of Social Work program. She folded a sweater her mother had given her years ago, hesitated, then placed it in the donation pile. From the kitchen, Brenda stood silent, watching the hallway where boxes now lined the wall.
She's really leaving. For a house she bought without my name anywhere on it.
Sophia wiped dust from her hands and glanced at her grandfather's photo on the nightstand. She tucked the framed letter beside it. The 2 people who had always believed in her. The last box was taped shut. The room looked smaller, emptier, but it felt like hers to leave. Moving day was a Tuesday. Sophia loaded the last box into the truck herself, the morning sun catching the sold sign one last time. Through the living room window, Brenda's silhouette stood motionless, a coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips.
She won't come out. That's answer enough.
She slid into the driver's seat. In the rearview mirror, the house she'd known for 30 years shrank to a memory. The cottage on Cedar Lane had a front porch and a garden that needed tending. Sophia parked and walked to the door. The key turned smoothly, a sound that meant more than any word she could think of. Inside, the first thing she hung was the framed letter, right next to Walter's photograph. Months later, Sophia walked across a sunlit stage, a graduate degree in hand. Brenda's seat in the audience remained empty.
He would have been proud. That's the only approval I ever needed.
Back at the cottage, she unlocked the door with the same key, the one that was hers and no one else's.